Hey. This is Matthew Harvey here with the 12 o'clock siren. On my left hand is James Horizontal. What was it? Consistency Hartley, not consistent.
Can I explain
in my
that?
Intro. Yeah, go for it.
I realized after I said that's kind of an off kilter thing to say. When I was a brand new weather forecaster in the United States Air Force, we talked a lot about horizontal consistency between like models and like, well, if you forecast for this, you need this model and this satellite and this radar to say all the same thing. So we have horizontal consistency for our forecast reasoning. And it makes sense in my head to talk about it about like, well, if we're doing a podcast and we're coming from the same, we need horizontal consistency to talk, you know?
Yep.
And anyway.
Nobody's going to know what we're talking about right now. I
No,
should have just said
dumb.
James Cumulinfo Hartley.
Yeah, big effing cloud.
Yep. All right. So this is the third part of our Leonard City Council candidates series, I guess.
Is it third and final?
Third and final.
It is.
We have nine candidates that have
That are running.
that are eligible to run and are running.
We put the invite out.
And we put the invite out to the Leonard page, and we got 3 of them to come speak to us. And magically, we got them all 3 in the same night.
It's amazing, really.
Which is cool to coordinate 5 people's schedule on the same night.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Miss Raychel Green, welcome.
How you doing, Miss Green?
Thank you. I'm doing just fine. Again, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to allow me to be heard, kind of introduce myself, what my vision, and it's not my vision, you know, it's the community's vision, it's everybody's vision, but what my platform is a little bit what I see for, you know, the future of Leonard.
Sure. And let me ask you, so can you just tell us a little bit about you? Where are you from? Like, how'd you end up here? Like, what's just tell us a little bit about Miss Raychel Green.
All right. So my dad is a retired 101st Airborne.
Nice.
We settled in Conway, Arkansas when he retired in my preteen years. My formative years, I consider myself from Conway, Arkansas.
Sure.
Can I pause you there?
Sure.
Are you a Razorback fan?
I am, but I went to the University of Central Arkansas.
Would you know
That's
that
fair.
Coach Houston Nutt sat in that very chair that you're in?
Yeah, I dated Tony Nutt, his nephew. So
Really?
Look at that.
so I used to get to go to some games.
Oh,
Look at
man.
that, man. It's a small world after all.
Houston Nutt is one of our own.
Okay.
Yeah.
I ran into him 2 weeks ago in McKinney, matter of fact.
I've been down and, you know, I've been to Fordyce where they're originally from and
Cool.
and visited with what would have been his uncle.
Huh.
And anyway, yeah, small world.
Wow. So do you know the blind school deaf school,
Deaf.
sorry.
The
Oh,
deaf.
now I
Yeah, wow.
feel like a jerk now.
Yeah.
Huh?
You should. Yeah.
But yes.
Now I feel like a jerk.
Well, now I feel like a jerk because it took me too long to get that.
Yeah.
And I think Dickie was at least an assistant coach for the Mavs back in the day too.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Yeah. So
He's
look at this.
probably got a better Mavs career than Nico Harrison does right now.
Woo, he's not looking too good now with the Irving injury. That's for
no,
sure.
it doesn't. Oh, wow. So anyway.
Sorry, I just sidetracked that with the Coach
Okay,
Houston
so
Nutt. That's the way
from-
this podcast goes.
Conway, Arkansas.
Yeah, it's a city of colleges, so
Yep.
it's a college town, a university, and then 2 colleges. And they're not counted in the regular population, so realistically, 90,000 people.
Sure, sure.
And so while I was there, I went to college there. I started my career there. I worked in the microchip connector industry.
Okay.
I've always been a leader, a supervisor, a manager in some way or the other, but I was also very involved with the community, more in a voluntary aspect. I was Junior Chamber of Commerce committee from my early 20s all the way until my late 30s. And so I got to do Habitat of Humanity for a year.
Cool.
We participated in beautification projects. In particular, we planted flowers everywhere and painted murals and, you know, trying to get more traffic into the square.
Yeah.
And it's grown considerably.
We've tried to get more traffic into our square, too.
That's why we started doing this, too.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then with the Chamber of Commerce, I started off playing softball. Played City League softball.
What position?
pitcher, shortstop,
Awesome.
all of it. I could throw a mile, so
Nice.
not so much anymore, but I could.
I empathize. I
Right.
get it.
But anyway, through playing City League sports, I met a lot of people in the community, and they're like, hey, we're going to start a youth softball league. Would you consider coaching 16 and under? It's like, absolutely. I think that would be fun. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a voluntary position. It was the first year that they did fast pitch. I never played fast pitch in my life, but I knew some people. So we got the fast pitcher from the University of Central Arkansas to come, and only our girls knew how to fast pitch. So it was a very successful season. And
Outstanding.
that led to...
so relying on your network.
Right.
Yep.
And that led to, hey, we like the way that you interact with, community and this and that. We think that you would be a great candidate. Not candidate. We think you'd be great on Junior Chamber of Commerce. Fill out an application, come to a meeting, and see what you think. And so that's kind of where it all snowballed.
Okay.
So I've got my career, and then I've got my community service, and they're running parallel.
Yeah.
And I was happy. I was busy every single day. I had something to do every single day. Perfect for me.
Yeah.
The reason I'm running is there's a piece of myself, former self, that I want to get back.
Okay.
And it's the community feel, the community aspect, the serving the community.
So you did all that in Conway?
I did all that in Conway.
How did you come to Leonard?
All right. So here's the fun part. So we had the 2007 through 2009, recession.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for Dassault Aerospace. I don't know if you got
Yeah, I bought my first house in 2007, so it was a great time.
Right.
But, yeah.
So eventually the layoffs caught up with us.
Sure.
And so my sister, who lives in League City, I don't know if you know that area, but
Another
Houston.
coastal city.
Yeah.
yeah,
Houston
so
area.
it's right in
Yeah.
between Houston and Galveston.
Mhm.
Pretty good sized city. She's like, hey, the economy's booming here, even though, on the tail end of the recession. She said, in fact, we're hiring at my job. And it was basically a foot in the door for a private dental practice, orthodontic practice. I was like, sure, so I went and I bought a place. And again, it was entry-level position. I was making enough money, check to check, right? I didn't have the extra money. I lost my network of friends. I was missing that community, but I wasn't established enough there to really get involved.
Sure.
Our private practice was bought out by a huge organization, and they recognized, my talents. I was responsible for basically cash flow, revenue, growing revenue, collecting all we could collect, bill for all that we could bill, and all that kind of stuff. Staying within budget, leading teams. And so they brought me in, and they're like, hey, we need you to be a manager of revenue cycle. I was like, great, I can do that. Our corporate office is moving to Dallas. I was like, okay. And so I have to work 2 days in the office a week. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to travel from Houston to Dallas. So let's look for a place to live. Dallas this is 2021, the middle of the market boom. Couldn't touch anything in Dallas.
No.
Nor did I really want to. Got into Anna, Melissa, Princeton. Everything I could afford was just completely dilapidated, and I'd have to rebuild it, and so I may as well buy a new house. And my realtor is like, well, what do you think about Leonard? It's in Fannin County, just across the Collin County border. It's like, oh, no, it's a little further than I want to be. But she convinced me to come out here. I fell in love. I mean, it was like I went into the post office, two old men, just shooting the breeze and just, shaking each other's hand. Yes, sir, no,
So
sir.
on our regular podcast, one of our most popular questions is, what is your first memory of Leonard?
That
So
is
this is,
my-
I think, a good opportunity,
Wow,
and it
yeah.
sounds like it is.
That is my very first memory because I had to go into the water department
Right, yep.
and fill out all my forms and pay my deposit. And they were just, I loved it,
Right.
and how's your son doing? It's been a long time. I haven't seen you in 10 years. And, it was so cool. I mean, it reminded me of Conway before it exploded,
Sure.
And so, and then, the restaurants, the market, the little cafe here, I went there and, Again, a lot of old timers, lifers, they were, really complaining. I mean, we had a drought and then another drought, and then they're like concerned. And they're, and my grandkids, my kids, they don't want to take this. I'm going to have to sell and stuff like that.
So you got your ear to the ground already.
Yeah. So I listen. Yeah, I pay attention. I listen. And anyway, so those are my first memories. And I moved here, and we had a couple of weather events, and I was like, wow, they really do come together.
Which weather events? Tornado?
Well, I had the ice storm.
We all had the ice storm.
The hackberry tree. I wasn't even living in my house.
Hackberries are the worst.
Yeah, but I came up here to make sure my pipes were good because I'm on a pier beam and all that. Mm-hmm. And I'm asleep, and I hear crash, boom, bang. Tree up across the power lines. It was horrible. It tore the weatherhead off the house.
Wow.
Yeah, new build or rebuild, basically. Nobody could come out and fix it for like 10 days. Couldn't get the power. It was just a mess. But, when I walked outside, you just see everybody with chainsaws and helping. And then we had the straight line winds again last year,
right.
And same thing. Everybody out helping, cleaning up. And I just think that's amazing. I mean, we had Hurricane Harvey in Houston, but it was really the city that was coming out and clean up. It wasn't that.
And the Cajun Navy.
Yeah, the Cajun Army or whatever they call themselves.
Navy or Army?
Navy.
Oh, it is?
Cajun
Okay.
Navy, yeah.
Well, makes sense, boats.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's not the same.
Yeah.
So.
So do you live in town, or do you live on the outskirts, or?
No, I live over on Bodark, West
Okay.
Bodark.
Okay, yeah.
Right on. Okay.
No, I was just saying that's a really good intro, and I got to be honest. So I knew that you were a somewhat new arrival comparatively, right? And might have had my own little bit of bias, but the fact that you immediately recognized the lifer, the two old men, shaking hands, and then everybody helping each other, and that's what you gravitated toward, really kind of sets my citizen mind at ease.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I do have to correct you. It's not lifer. It's BIL.
It's BIL.
Born in Leonard.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
if
Neither
you
one
use-
of us are either. So
Don't ever use that term. Use BIL.
Okay.
And there's a
Do we need to stop recording?
there's a
with-
secret-
No.
there's a secret society of BIL.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just
And but no, that actually is. I really like how you articulated that. That's something that Matthew and I we talked about on the first interview today. You're number 3 of 3 on the first interview. Matthew and I both graduated high school here, and we moved out, and then we came back, and we joked about liking it a lot better as adults than we did as kids. As a boring small town, but as adults we have a different
can't wait to
perspective.
get out of here.
Yeah,
Right.
and then coming back and seeing people gravitate towards what a small town means, and you knew it in Conway before it blew up,
Right.
and you can there's some horizontal consistency
Yeah, there you go.
between
See how
small
that-
town Conway and small town Leonard, right?
There
So,
are, and
yeah.
just getting that, while I was in Conway, knee deep in the community.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe not in a local, city council role, but still.
But you're in the community.
Connected.
You're
Yeah.
coaching kids.
Exactly,
You're doing the
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
So, and then my career stayed in revenue cycle. So,
Sure.
I've got that cash flow, the budgeting. I understand the whole cycle of cash, the importance of.
That's important.
Right. And now I transitioned from revenue cycle to real estate facilities and maintenance, same role, but it's the opposite side. So now I manage spend.
Sure.
We have over 500 clinics. I have a very small team. My team manages the facility needs for all 500 clinics across 32 states. I have an individual budget for each clinic, and
Right.
then we have the overall budget for the company. And so, yeah, now it's accounts receivable, accounts payable, managing spend, looking for opportunities to save money, fighting with vendors. Unfortunately, I have to fight a little with
Of
vendors
course,
because
yeah.
every proposal comes across my desk. I have to say, hey, you're double dipping here. A ceiling tile does not cost $59. I can buy a whole pack for that, and so forth. So, yeah, I understand the big picture, and it really applies directly to how you would manage a small town. Now, I can't take those principles and probably go into Dallas.
No, but there is some crossover, I would imagine.
So there's a lot of crossover. So no longer are my career and my community service parallel. Now they can merge, and I've got the skill set, I believe, that makes me a good candidate to run.
Fiscal conservation and budget allocation and efficiency sound like
Reliability, scalability, repeatability, all the things. But also looking for opportunity to grow revenue where maybe no one else has looked. I know that everybody's.
I like that.
Well, I know everybody's upset. I've already looked at the proposed budget for this year. If everything goes perfect, we will come in a little under.
Right.
But
that's if everything goes perfect.
Yeah, but it's going to take one trooper losing control of his car, and the budget's busted. But what I could see, right, because I also looked at the audit reports, and they report on different things, and what I could see in the budget, I didn't see for the housing developments impact fees. And that's a huge opportunity.
Sure.
They're responsible to pay fees for our infrastructure.
Yeah.
Not just their infrastructure and their development, but the impact on how it's going to handle our traffic. Do we need a light here? Do we need a roundabout?
Yeah.
Do we need a merge
I've been
lane?
pushing roundabouts too. I like that.
That is a Conway thing.
Yeah.
They're more efficient than
Well,
always.
they are. They're popping up a lot in Prosper and Allen.
Well,
and
hold on. Let me push back
we
here, though.
brought this up on the podcast
We did.
before.
Isn't it technically more accidents on a roundabout but less severe ones?
Maybe, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's a net,
it is.
net
it
positive,
is. It's a
really.
net positive, right? And, so everything from can our sewer system handle the new growth to infrastructure needs like roundabouts and everything.
Right.
So.
I'll add a little bit of that because I don't know how much negotiation went into the water plant out here. Is there any room for renegotiation?
Yeah.
Because that's a big untapped market, and they're not going to like me saying this.
No, but
Right.
but they got.
in,
I think they got a raw. We got a raw deal on it.
we got a raw no. So we got a great verbal proposition.
Yeah.
And then they didn't perform. It was supposed to be hiring Leonard people, Fannin County people.
And I don't know the specifics. You may know a little more,
Yeah.
but I know there's got to be some sort of room for something.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what
Just
I
throwing it out
excel
there.
at. I am
That's
great.
awesome.
I'm great at research. I dig. My friends tell me all the time, I should have been in the FBI.
Yeah.
Well,
But I don't take what I heard
Yeah.
at face value. And I know a lot of, our community members do. They think that their water bill went up because we're paying for the new development. No, we're not necessarily paying for that. They're replacing some sewer lines, and that's what we're paying for.
Right.
I don't know a whole lot about the water plant, to be honest, just yet. I know
It's
it's
something you should look
relatively
into,
new,
yeah.
and if there's an opportunity, I dig. I look for opportunity to
Outstanding.
save money, and I look for opportunity to grow revenue.
So you've been here since 21? Is that
I bought
Right.
in October of 21, and I was kind of back and forth.
22?
Yeah, moving, and
So
so
3 years or so.
3.5 going on 4.
Based on that, what are you hearing from locals, from the Facebook groups, what are you hearing as concerns, and what do you see to resolve some of that?
Well, roads, I think we can say.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So,
Trails, we call them trails.
yeah, that is speed deterrence to me. So whatever. But yeah, I hear who's going to carry the black eye, right? When something goes wrong, who carries the black eye?
Yeah. Where's the buck stop?
Yeah, it's City Council. They're corrupt, so we're hearing that, right?
Yeah.
I know that they made all this money and they spent it here. We can't see where they spent it. Where'd the money go, right?
Yep.
Well, we talked about that in the last couple of interviews, right? And some of that's education for the citizens.
Exactly.
We talked about one of the guys we had on here a few months ago was just talking about, he was like, sometimes it's frustrating because they'll say, hey, we see you spent this money here. We think it should have been spent here. And he was like, they don't know that legally we can't spend this pot of money on that.
Right.
So some education for the citizens would be great, in a non-condescending manner, you know?
Right.
Like,
and that's part of my platform, right? I don't have a single item on it. I don't have a negative item on it. I'm not going to talk about city ordinance, and I mean, it's there for a reason. Abide by it. I mean, it is. Some things are. It is
Sure.
what it is. You know.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. It is what it is. But I will talk about community engagement. Right. Both sides. We have to have those open lines of communication. Be transparent as we can be. Obviously.
Sure.
There are some things that we probably can't talk about.
Sure.
But be as transparent as we can be. Have open lines of communication, both sides. You know, you got a question, ask a question. Ask somebody who is going to give you the right answer. Don't ask, Miss Janice next door.
Right.
Use your forums, write city council, call city council, email, whatever it takes. You got to come to the meetings, get involved, whether you vote or not. Get involved.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to get informed.
I agree with that 100%.
And at the same time, it goes both ways. We got to pick up the phone. We got to answer those emails. And my belief, the feel that I get, between the zoning commission, city council, law enforcement, the community, chamber of commerce, the feel that I get is that the community thinks that that's all separate entities and not really
Working together.
understanding that, we need a synergistic approach. We're all interrelated. It takes all of us to have a shared vision.
Sure.
Majority of a shared vision, anyway.
Well, in a perfect world, right, they're all working towards the same thing.
Right, the same common goal.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what my platform is as far as engaging the community. We already talked about the infrastructure a little bit and maybe some opportunity to make sure that, hey, if you're going to come and invest in Leonard, this is part of, what it costs. And there is no reason we should not be charging impact fees. All they're going to do is turn around and offset it to whoever's selling the house. So it's really no...
It gets passed off.
Buying the house, yeah. There's really no reason not to calculate that and make and pay that. And maybe they are, and maybe it's just coded and I don't see it, but...
Sure, but you got to get there to see it.
Right, exactly. And then the next thing is, public safety. That is also an impact. It could be part of the impact fee. I know that somebody was complaining the other night. I guess their car got all busted up.
I saw that.
And they said that Fannin County had to come out.
Yeah, there's a long response time.
Right, and I didn't realize that Leonard didn't have a split shift or a third shift or whatever, so that was new to me.
I was under the impression they were 24/7.
Well, I'm assuming, right, they talked about not hiring that third or whatever, and I'm assuming that's a revenue issue, right? That we probably are not very competitive when it comes to other cities' LEOs, right?
Yep.
And that's probably something that should be looked at.
Right, and so, exactly. So, if it's not in the budget now, we don't want to wait till next year. We've got to look for opportunity. Supporting our local businesses, right? They thrive, we thrive. We need to attract
people,
more local businesses.
Absolutely.
I believe in a bottom-up approach to growing, small increments, and not, the top-down, boom. We've got these huge housing developments. But we're not there yet.
No.
We're not going to fill those houses yet. And so
that's still a few years out, I think.
Right. But in the meantime, we're dealing with...
You got to prepare for that growth, too, because they all require more electricity, more roads, more sewage, more all of that. And I think we are behind in all those categories.
Yeah, it's a real interesting thought for me because, like, you look at the square, right, and it's a lot better than it was, but it's nowhere where it should be, right? And you look at towns like McKinney or Anna or some of the stuff that's closer to our area on the outskirts of the Metroplex, and how do we drive more business here and make it retail friendly? And
we've got a unique situation where this is the second busiest road in the town going right through our square.
Right.
Like that's a lot of people every day, an easy access point to town.
Right.
That they need to be new people and stopping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got friends in Van Alstyne proper, McKinney, Sherman, and they're like, "Hey, come over." I'm like, "No, you come over. There's a cool little place in Trenton. Let's go check it out." You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
you know, and we do. I know what's in Sherman, and I know they're growing like crazy too, and I don't know that they're necessarily prepared for, you know, what TI is going to bring in.
Oh, that's a big one. And Raytheon, I think, is going up there, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a competitor to who I used to work for. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
yeah. So,
Military industrial complex is always going to win.
Oh yeah.
are we going to grow? Yes, it's
Yeah.
inevitable. There's no fighting it, but I don't think we're going to grow at the scary rate that everybody is.
No, I agree with that.
freaking
And
out
we brought it up in the last couple of interviews, right? Like, growth is inevitable. How do you affect positive change through that growth? And not only that, and I'm not going to say who, but, you know, living in this area, there's towns you hear of, and there's a couple of towns in particular that said, we don't want it, we don't like it. It doesn't matter. It
Don't
doesn't
care
matter
about
what
it.
you want. You know, like it's just not gonna. It's going to happen.
I think Melissa was one.
Trenton was one.
Yeah.
And Dodge City too. I said I wasn't going to say, but that's who it was. Honey Grove, Dodge City. They don't want it, but it's coming.
Right.
So,
But
how do you manage that growth positively?
Right.
You know.
well, from the bottom up, right? We want more traffic.
Right.
Bottom up can look something as simple as, you know, beautification. I think there's
Oh,
a great
yes.
opportunity to do something with the train bridge.
Absolutely.
Right, coming into the square. Whether you paint it, you put the city logo, hang a sign from it. I think there's a really good opportunity.
I always
A
said sell the rights to it.
Yeah.
Like AT&T Railroad Bridge.
Absolutely.
You know?
And just have that pop wow factor just entering into the town. Hey, this is a cool little place. Let's check these shops out.
Absolutely.
And actually, the yellow and blue paint that you see on it was done by a local to beautify it on their own
Years
dime.
ago.
And I mean, it was a while
Yeah.
back, and it looks way better than it used to. So props to them for stepping up and
Right.
donating their time.
I've seen it, like, I've spent a lot of time in the South and, like, Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, and I've gone through some towns that reminded me a lot of Leonard, but they really were, like, a step ahead with the beautification. And it was a poor town. There wasn't a lot of industry, but they really took a lot of pride in it. And you think, man, this is a neat little spot. You know, how do we replicate that?
Right.
You know?
I was talking to, I guess, the guy that runs Blue Bonnet this past weekend. He's like, "What do you think of growth?" I said, "We need it. We need the traffic. It needs to be managed. I believe in small incremental steps to get there." He said, "Well, what do you think about the square?" I said, "Well, there's a few empty storefronts. Maybe we attract something that is going to be more attractive to the younger genre.
Right.
Maybe, you know, we put." I don't know that a speakeasy would fly well here, but maybe a little pool hall or a R&R.
That's a speakeasy door right over there, by the way.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're in the speakeasy right now.
Okay. But yeah, something that appeals to more than, you know, we've got two little antique shops and we've got, you know, little hair place and, you know, some stuff like that. But, you know, maybe we can find something that appeals to, you know, the 24, the 25-year-olds that, hey, let's stop here. It's a cool little spot and whatever. So we need to fill the storefronts first. We need to work with and build up what we already have, in my opinion.
Yep. Do you want to go into your Thomas Massey?
Okay, yeah, I might as well,
Listen,
right?
I mean,
'Cause
this has been consistent
is
in all three, so.
3 for 3. So Thomas Massey, congressional congressman from, I believe, Kentucky, he puts up on his. So first of all, he's a no vote on just about everything, right? If it's gonna impact my citizens or the citizens of the United States negatively, I'm a no vote. If we're more spending, I'm a no vote. But he also, whether he votes yes or no, on his social media, he posts why he voted for it. And there's been times, because 99% of the time I agree with him, but there's been some times I'm like, well, why did Tom? I didn't think he would vote this way. But then he explains it, right? And I'm like, okay, there's some rationale behind this, and here's why it is, and here's why he thinks it's good. I may agree or disagree, but at least I know it's not some sort of, you know, quid pro quo.
Yeah. So we practice that where I work.
Yeah, oh, really?
Right. Anything. We support clinics. right? We leave them to patient care. We handle anything financial, real estate wise, revenue wise. We handle all of that. The doctor will want to, and I can't speak too much, but a doctor will want to bill for something that he didn't really do, right? And they get mad at us because we didn't file the claim for them. And we can't just say, we're not filing this claim. We are big on, we can't file a claim because of this. Or XYZ is mad because this happened. We go back and we point to the policy. Well, this is where you messed up in the policy. You missed this step.
Right.
You were the catalyst that caused this. So we're really big on providing the why.
There you go.
And we believe in it. And
speaking my language there.
Justifying actions. I know you've only been here for a few years, but do you have any community involvement, or have you gotten involved at any level yet?
Not yet. I had told myself when I was in League City, and I was like, okay, I'm going to look for the next opportunity to get involved. I do get out a lot and support the local businesses, and I talk to them a lot.
Yeah,
so
cool.
But not to like, have I volunteered to anything
Sure.
yet. But I do get out and, go to the little pancake dinners and, the little summer thing that we do. Sit back and listening, though.
Sounds like you have a natural inclination to listen, at least, at the very least, and or get out and get,
And I told myself that as soon as I was settled and ready, I was going to run for city council and get involved.
Cool.
And I wasn't really planning to do it until next year.
Right.
For, full transparency. But then I'm like, oh, there's 3 seats open this year.
Yeah.
And 2 seats
Might be
open.
the time.
Yeah. And if I don't get in this year, at least people have heard of me now, and now I've got a name to my face, and I can work toward the mayor seat next year.
Listen, let me tell you again. I've already mentioned it early in the podcast. I was cynical just because you're a move-in, right? I was a move-in.
I saw that. I was like, this dude is calling me out.
I know, but I'm gonna tell you, you've won me over. Okay. No, I really appreciate I was cynical about the reasons, right? Okay, everybody wants to get involved. Is this for personal gain, or is this for your natural inclination is to be involved and just make where you live better? And you've won me over on that. I can really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I've been looking for this opportunity for the past 10 years because I've missed it. When I moved to League City, yes, it was good for me financially.
Sure.
But I miss not having the things to do on the weekend or having that network and getting out there.
Well, clearly you're interested because you've gone through the audit.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Which
I've gone through audits.
I feel bad. I haven't done that.
Yeah, you didn't know about it until I brought it up in the first one.
I was like, what?
You don't even know what all I did.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm sure.
I've pulled all the audits since 2021 and all of the proposed budgets since 2021 and all of the financial reports. I've stacked them all up, converted them to Excel. I've stacked them all up, and I'm running pivots and I'm just looking
pivot tables.
Oh gosh, yeah, pivots. And
oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to grok that later.
No, but you can see stuff in numbers, right? You
absolutely.
can see the patterns once you get everything lined up, and something sticks out. I'm gonna ask a question. You know.
I love it. I love it.
At the risk of sounding woke, you would also bring a nice bit of diversity to our city council too.
Absolutely,
which is pretty male dominant, I believe.
And this is two rabid conservatives.
and I could care less about a DEI or woke agenda. But perspective is always good, and you're both an outsider, so to speak, and a different perspective. So.
Yeah, and fresh eyes, same place where you go to work. Sometimes a fresh eye is what it takes, right? You get in your...
that's another good point. Even to your...
Fresh eye,
to your being new here.
Yeah.
But fresh set of eyes might see something that, is just blind, literally, right? Because you're looking at the same stuff over and over. You become numb to it. You become blind to it. It's status quo, and we got to break out of that.
Yeah.
We've
always done it this way.
I hate to go back to it because I was really, especially with our previous 2 candidates, and I still agree with this, right? Like the last candidate we had on, Leonard High School graduate, and I think there is something so valuable to that, right? Mm-hmm. He loves this town. He's from this town. But now I am seeing a use case for some new blood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 seats, and, he can have one of the other ones.
Absolutely.
But I know this. And like I said, if I can't. Only 300 people voted last year. If we don't get those numbers up,
well, that's what we're hoping to do with this too.
Yeah.
And we're relying on you to share it and tag all your network and on all that stuff, because that's how it works.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well for me if only 300 people. They're going to vote the same way they voted 2 years ago.
Just the law of averages.
But the days of running unopposed are over.
Yeah, good. That's a good thing.
I can tell you that.
Yep.
So, and I think that. This is the first time we've had 9 candidates, right?
Yeah,
it's usually been 3-4 tops.
Yeah.
And so I think that speaks something too. And I'm not saying that what's existing is bad.
I am.
I'm just saying it can
I'll
be.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
I'm saying it can be better,
and,
right?
And
There's
I know
plenty
the
of
people on there and like them in certain ways,
Right.
but it's time for some new ideas and some new eyes. I'm super happy that 9 people are running.
Me too.
Based on what you know about city government, what do you see as the top priorities for the city, and why?
Or in just your priorities, maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
We've kind of danced around
we've touched on it, but as we're coming down, we're at 35 minutes. So as we're ending this podcast, what are kind of your priorities, or what you see as important?
what I see as important, right? The community wants certain things. Certain things cost money. It's not in the budget today. It is finding ways to increase revenue.
Yep.
We've got to increase the revenue to, I don't even say put a Band-Aid on it. I don't even want to say appease, but things cost money. And we don't want to tax it to death, right? You don't want to have to continue, blame everything on taxes, blame everything on city council for being corrupt. You want to grow organically, find places, get creative with creating revenue, getting the community to take ownership, right? When you take ownership of something, you buy into it and you want to be a part of it and you want to contribute. So all those things together, I think, is a priority, but we can't keep just breaking even or coming in at a loss. We've got to generate revenue, whether it's bringing in new things, whether it's, starting some sort of group, some sort of a community service group.
There is something in the works on that. I'm sure you've seen it. Leonard Work. I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
Forgive me.
I think the last
Leonard
dude talks
Work
about
Corps or something like that. I forget, the volunteer corps, something like that,
it.
where they're doing beautification projects and things
Right.
like that.
My concern there. So I 100% agree with you, right? Revenue is a big thing, but I also want to make sure that burden doesn't fall on the citizens entirely.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Get creative in finding ways to generate revenue that's not going to turn into a tax on the citizens.
Yes.
Yeah, she basically said that earlier.
Yeah.
Don't tax the
100%.
citizens. Ultimately, if you have more business, there's more tax revenue. You
Right.
create an environment to invite business, you get more businesses. So
Right. And
like
I'm going to say something that they might get mad at me at, but it ended up working well and we're not big enough for this yet, but Conway's a big college town, Jonesboro, Fayetteville, obviously. They all have like a 1.5% burger tax.
Right.
Right? So 20 extra cents on a meal. They might get mad about that, but you have a choice whether or not you want to buy
sure.
that burger here. And you may get mad and want to go to Bonham, but okay, spend $6 to save 20
gas,
cents.
yeah.
But it's huge revenue for the state. It's huge revenue for the town. If we ever get big enough, that's one creative way to
Sure.
generate more tax revenue that is not painful.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, Rachel,
hold on. I got a couple more things that we've hit other people with, and I want to get everybody.
no, that's fair.
Kind of do some of the same. This is a fun one. Which one do you most agree with? Quote, I believe the city of Leonard is run more efficient than other area cities. I believe the city of Leonard is run less efficient than other areas of other area cities. Or I believe the city of Leonard is neither more nor less efficient than other area cities.
Are we talking area like Wolf City?
Yeah,
comparable Bailey,
comparable towns. Yeah, Trenton, Leonard,
okay.
Celeste, White.
I I think we get a little more traffic than all those. Maybe not Trenton. I don't go to Trenton enough, but I know they've got.
They got a big highway.
Yeah, they've got some traffic. I don't see their budgets. I haven't looked at their budgets.
Sure.
So I don't know if we're more or less financially efficient or whatever. I would say we're more.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Celeste.
I wouldn't use Celeste.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with what I see.
I live in Celeste,
I'll
but
be
I wouldn't
honest.
use. I love Celeste.
I'm going to say this because now it's our third. I was going to say neither more nor less.
Neither.
I would think our peer group,
Probably
we're all
status quo.
probably running the same.
Yeah.
But if you're going to use Celeste, yes.
Yeah.
If you're going to use Wolf City, yes. If you're going to use Whitewright, maybe not.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like we're status quo.
Yeah.
But that means there's room for so much improvement.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing we haven't talked about yet was code enforcement. That's obviously a hot button
It is.
topic, and there's a lot of stuff going on over the past couple of years about that. So you can speak to that if you like.
Yeah, I guess they're contracted out with All American. I don't know if that's the only option.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're consistent with, going through the neighborhoods and being fair and consistent, right? I do know this. I got a code enforcement 1 week after I put in my
Welcome to
whatever.
Leonard.
Yeah. And coincidentally, right, my boat's been there for 3 years, but now it's not on an approved surface. But guess what?
Yeah.
I got a code, and I've got someone putting in a driveway and parking pad tomorrow. Some code enforcement. Those codes have existed. I've gone back. I couldn't find when it didn't exist.
I'll tell you what I know of it. And you may have done more research than me, but I understand in 2016 the city council passed and approved like a state level set of codes, and then manipulated those. I was told that each member got a different section of it to kind of go over and fine tune however they saw fit, and then all come together and vote on it. That was my understanding in 2016. That's when that kind of updated the codes.
Yeah.
And you'll want to do research on
Yeah,
that
I've
too.
been working my way back. And maybe there's room to revise some of that and whatever. But this is me. As it is, there is a city ordinance.
Right.
It is what it is. Law is law.
Right.
You get a code violation, take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm not in a position yet, obviously, to look at those codes and see if we need some edits or we need some revisions. That's something that I would definitely start digging into and see.
Well, you touched on it when you said inconsistent enforcement, I think is the main issue. Like, we don't have problems with the code necessarily. It's enforcing it on people that can afford it,
Right.
or look like will pay the bill versus the people we've knocked up 20 times.
We want
and
the
don't
good
pay.
Little citizen to pay his parent.
The law-abiding
Right.
citizen gets the burden, and that's not fair,
Right.
and that's not right.
And I'm not super impressed with who they've contracted out. I don't know if they looked at other people, or are they even out of Fannin County?
They're in Pilot Point, an hour and a half
right.
away.
Yeah, exactly. But I called, right? I got this. There's
Talk
a
to
phone
Bob?
number. I tried to talk to Bob.
Yeah, I got him on the phone
Right.
After a while.
a while.
And so, I wasn't calling to complain. I mean, my boat it's parked on the grass. But I was like, hey, call me back. I received this. I'm going to take care of this. I need to know what is considered an improvement. I want to do this once, you know. Do I have to have asphalt? Do I have to have concrete? Can it be gravel? What does this look
Paver
like?
stones even.
Our city council suggesting putting some pea gravel out there. Just
It's-
throw some pea gravel out there, and that makes it better.
Oh, no, mine's
Or some little paver stones.
right.
No, that's how you sidestep the rules. That's
Right.
not what you're supposed to
Not
do.
the intent.
That is,
Yeah, so I was like, I can move the boat to the backyard, pay to get my gate widened, whatever, or I could just,
then you have to cover it
yep.
in the backyard.
And so, well, it's covered.
Okay.
Just in the front yard.
But in the backyard, it's got to be covered, or
Right.
you'll get another
And
citation.
then I've got 10-foot fence, so good luck seeing over it.
Yeah.
But anyway, today, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Can it be changed, edited? Maybe so.
Yeah.
Get me in.
Yep. I believe there's a parking board that's supposed to be forming that one person has signed up for. So community involvement is necessary for that stuff to happen.
Right.
And you guys got to get out there and get on there. Any other questions there, James?
No, honestly, I really appreciate you coming on. I really, really identify with your platform. And I love the fact that we had 3 people at least come on here and are willing to share their views for the city. And I'm really happy that you moved to Leonard, and thank you for coming.
We thank you for taking the opportunity to do this, because 3 of 9 is not a good percentage. It's almost lower than our voter turnout.
Yeah. No, I wanted to be first, but then I was like, oh.
No,
you were. I think you were the first to ask.
Right.
So it's just a matter of timing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I've got one more question for you. Who is your favorite Friends character?
Probably Matthew Perry.
Okay, fair.
You killed me there.
I like a good sense of humor.
You just kicked my puppy there. I was hoping you'd say Raychel Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's annoying. But anyway, if it gets me name recognition and hey,
there you go.
remember me because
Absolutely.
And
That's
I think there's what are the odds in the same town? I think there's a high school student named Raychel
There
Green
is,
too.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But
That's
anyway,
Election day is May 3rd. It's a Saturday coming up. Raychel Green has been our 3rd candidate on here, but the first to respond to the invite. James, any last word for you?
Nope. Enjoyed it. This was a great time.
We're gonna give it to you, Raychel, for your last pitch. Say whatever you like.
okay. So I really want people that are registered to please get out and vote, but please vet your candidates, all 9, not just 3. There's going to be another opportunity. I believe the Buchanans on April 13th are hosting a candidate forum where I'm assuming we're all going to meet and have a meet and greet and questions, Q&A. So there's another opportunity for you to get to know me. I'm not asking for your vote. I'm asking you to get informed. I'm asking you to vet your candidates, vote your conscience, but vote.
Yep.
I'm just asking for your consideration. So I do appreciate you guys giving us this opportunity to speak, and I look forward to any other opportunities.
Great.
Oh, well, and we do need to say anytime, like, let's say everything goes as planned, you get on. Anytime you want to come on and talk about any decision you made or anything that's affecting the city, you have an open door here. You can come on anytime.
Well, that's great. I mean, because I think that's part of the problem,
Yep.
right?
It is.
Things happen behind closed doors.
Yep.
Yes.
And
That's why everybody's so
I haven't
cynical.
heard any of our city council speak candidly to anything they've done, period.
No, and
Ever.
we've invited them
Yep.
on.
Right.
But they've told us no.
No, I'm an open book, and I will speak what I can speak to. And
Yeah.
if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find out the answer before I.
Outstanding.
Great.
I'm not just going to wing it.
Sure.
Cool.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and
Thank you.
we appreciate your participation.